Welcome to Grow My Etsy Shop podcast, the drips of knowledge you need to start growing. Hey, welcome. Okay, so today we're going to be going through making sure our websites are ready for Q4. And there's two different avenues for this. In today's episode, I'm going to be focusing on back-end avenue, meaning that we're going to be making sure that your site is like Google likes it, nothing's broken on it, it's doing what it's supposed to be doing, it has the highest likelihood to be able to organically bring you some traffic. So this is part of, I'm going to be meeting with the mastermind next week. We're going to be doing a whole Black Friday shindig, and so we're going to be going through and getting everything ready for Black Friday. And so part of that is to make sure our back ends are lined up, and so that's what I'm going to be working with you guys today. If I'm saying something and you're like, whoa, was that a T or an E? You know what I mean? Because we're on a podcast. I'm going to put everything in the description below so you can see kind of step by step what we're talking about. And if you want to just copy and paste it, you can do all that stuff. So a good technique for this would just be to listen to this on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or whatever it is on your desktop, and then you can kind of pull it and follow along with it. Okay, so I'm going to start with some of the exciting stuff, and then we'll move into the more boring stuff. But it's important that you know this stuff, but it's just boring. So this is kind of an exciting one. You can say, all right, is my site even set up to target the keywords that I want to hit? Am I even searchable in this area? Does Google even know that this is what I do? So here's a really quick and easy way to do it. You open up Google, you type in your website. So into a Google search bar, you type in, for my scenario, growmyetsyshop.com. And then space, put it in parentheses. No, not parentheses, quotations. That's what those are called, quotations. I'm doing it with my fingers. Quotations, the keyword that you want to be found for. So for me, it would be like, Etsy coach or something along the lines of that. If you hit enter and your website pages aren't popping up, that means you don't even have the potential to rank for those keywords. Because you're putting your website in the front, you're essentially saying to Google, hey, find these keywords in any of the pages on my website. And if it, again, doesn't pull this up, you've got some work to do. I can give you the Reader's Digest version of how to fix this. There's two. I'm a little under the weather. I apologize. So you're going to hear me you can probably hear it in my voice. Number one is the title. So anytime you're creating a page, you're allowed to put keywords in that page. You're allowed to have a title of that page. And so a title, when you go to the tabs section, you wave your mouse over it, you'll see it pop up. Like it'll say something. And so if you go to any website, go to Cracker Barrel, they seem to be in the news recently, you wave over the top of it, you're going to see some SEO keywords in that tab that's there. So you can do something similar by editing the title of the website that you have. Most of you have Shopify, and it's done very easily through Shopify that's there. The other thing that you're going to want to do is look at anything that's on your page that's an H1 title. So there's different, the most human way I can explain this is there's different sizes of text on websites. So Google will look at the title of, which is an H1 tag. Well, so for example, if you click on something that says collections, that's usually the H1 tag because it's kind of like the section title of what you're looking at. So if it just says collections, that's all that keyword is being ranked for. And of course, Google would have no idea what that is. And so you would want to use in that H1 tag some of the keywords that you'd want to hit to then follow that. So those are the two best and fastest ways to get your page at least ready to be ranked. All right, so the next thing you're going to want to do is check the 3 loads. So load number 1 is, does it load quick? And I'm going to put a website in the URL below that you can type that in and it'll tell you, it'll score you. The number one reason something doesn't load quick for probably most of you who have a website are using Shopify, but if you're not, just for shop owners in general, is that they're taking massive images, these 2,000 pixel images, and bringing them over into a website and then shrinking the image down on the website. But it's still, what happens is the website will load it at its full resolution and then shrink it. So if you've got, 10, 11 product pictures and you upload them in their biggest file possible, it has to load those 11 pictures at high resolution and then shrink it down to the size that you wanted. This is a very common problem. So what you instead would want to do in that scenario, if you're seeing that your site isn't loading quickly, and I can almost promise you it's going to be images, is that you would just Google or ChatGPT, like, hey, what are the sizes of this template or of this section? Or you can screenshot it and bring that to ChatGPT and say, hey, what size image is this? And it'll say, oh, that's probably a 700 by 600. And you'd go, great. You'd go into a photo editor, shrink your pictures to that size, so that way it doesn't load more pixels than it's showing. Okay. The next one is, does it load on mobile? So this is an easy one. You're just going to log into your site on mobile and see, is this working? Is it functional? Does it flow correctly? Are there issues? It's funny because every single website builder on planet Earth is on a desktop platform. And so you're like, you're in Shopify and you're like creating your website on a desktop. And then at this point, 28% of your traffic is coming from desktop. And so like it's even Google used to not search mobile sites first when they were crawling. And now they do. They search it from a mobile standpoint first and then do the desktop version of it. Meaning it has more rank and more important that your site works mobile than it does desktop. So I would invite you to do the same in watching your mobile site. And if you're like, yeah, it's not as good as my desktop site, let's fix that. Because most of your shopping is going to be taking place from mobile. Okay, we have load quick, check. Load mobile, check. The last one is, does it load without dead ends? And so this is where we don't want broken links. Broken links can be a problem if you've been in business for a while. You just need to do this. It's kind of like getting a haircut. And so it's amazing what a human can look like after a nice fresh haircut. It's the same with your website. Your website that has a lot of broken links just ends up becoming, it's a signal to Google that you don't care about your website. You're unkept. And so this is an easy, quick fix. You can go to, and I'll put this link below, deadlinkchecker.com, and you would put in your website, and then it's going to run a big report. It's free, and it will tell you if any pages have dead links on them, meaning that you click on them and they don't work anymore. And you're just going to clean those up. And what I would do is I would never just delete them. I would just reroute them. It's nice to have links on your website. It's nice for all that stuff to work. Speaking of that, let me share this. I just thought of this. It's probably worth doing. But when you are going back to your first exercise, which is that we did the website and then we put in quotation marks the keyword that we have, you might have 7 pages that rank for the keyword that you're searching for. Let's just say that's the case. What I want you to do is I want you to go open all 7 pages. So right click it and say open a new tab. Right click it, open a new tab. Right click it, open a new tab. So you have 7 of those tabs open. I want you to take the first 3 that you have, the ones that rank the highest, because that's what you're seeing. You're seeing it in rank order. So the first 3, and I want you to link the bottom 4 in this scenario, because there's 7, to that page. Meaning you put a link, so you could just even say like, check this out over here, or just hyperlink text that links back to your highest rank stuff. Because what you're doing in this stage is you're creating this authority that is pushing everything back up to what's already ranking. So we use this technique in Etsy where it's like, hey, Etsy's running traffic to this. Let's make this listing our best listing possible because this is where traffic's coming from. You're essentially doing the same thing. You're saying, hey, these other pages that aren't ranked as high, keep in mind, you're only going to rank, certain pages. Or it's let me say it this way. Google, if you type in something into Google, it doesn't put the entire website. It's just going to put a page of a website and then a page of a different website and a page of a different website. So what this does is it just forces your authority to promote to your best converting page. Okay? So that's a good exercise to kind of go through. Again, you just hyperlink text to your main top 3 pages that are working for you. All right. You guys asleep yet? I apologize. This is a much more techie episode. It's more of a mastermind type type feeling than it is entertainment. But hopefully, you guys are catching some value from this. All right, because it's about to get way more boring here. These are two that most likely you're going to be fine with. If you are already cross-eyed, you can skip these. You're probably going to be fine. But just in case, if you want to check, you're going to want to check your well, there's two. One is the robots text that's there. It's just to make sure that nothing is blocking Google. And so very easy. You just type in your website, growmyetsyshop.com / and I'll put this down so that you have it, robots.txt. Hit enter. It's going to bring up a code. You take that code, you put it into AI, and you say, is Google blocking any of this? Or am I blocking anything from Google? That's a better way to say that. And it's going to most likely say, no, you're fine. Because if you're using Shopify or Wix or anything like that, they're very good at this kind of stuff. But you just want to make sure. So that's one that you want to do. Another one that you would want to check out is if your site is indexed. This just means, does Google have it in its Rolodex that if someone is searching for you, it's in the Rolodex. Like you're in Google's little black book. You know what I mean? Like you need to check that. The way you do that, super easy. You type site, S-I-T-E. What is that? 2 dots on top of each other called? I don't know. I should know. I mean, I do know. I just can't think of it right this second. You know what I mean? 2 dots on top of each other. Boom. And then, again, it's in the description. And then yourwebsite.com. So that's what you would... Colon? Is that what it is? Yeah, I think it's a colon. Anyway. And then it'll pop up a code. Take that code, put it in ChatGPT. Hey, am I good? Am I indexed? It's going to say, most likely, yep, you're good. And then from there, you're good. You're only going to really have this problem if you are not using a website builder. Like let's just say you freehanded on WordPress or something like that. That would probably be more of an issue. So again, just do it just in case, but you should be fine. Okay, so everything we've done up to this point is just like pretty much putting the key in the ignition and turning it on. And if we heard the car turn on, we checked the AC, we flipped the lights type stuff, we looked made all the mirrors are working. Yep, okay. This car is a functional car. Looks like it works, looks like it runs. It can drive on the road. So check. We should feel good about that. Minus the little technique I gave you about connecting your keywords. Nothing at this point is really moving you forward. You're just making sure that it actually works. So do you have an image issue? Is your site loading okay? Is it indexed? Yada, yada, yada. Now here comes the question of, how do I grow this thing? And so this is a good question. This is the advice I would give Etsy sellers. Because there's multiple, what we just went through is called technical SEO. And then there's going to be there's content SEO, right? And then there's ranking SEO. And so I'm going to kind of talk about these other two. Content SEO is when you provide value to Google's audience. So when you are writing and creating content that people are searching for, and you give them the answer to what they're searching for, that helps you. I get this question a lot, which is, Jared, how aggressive, how much do I need before I can really start to see the needle move when it comes to content? Most people move to blogs. That's right. They write blogs. They kind of do their stuff this way. The answer is about 60. I know that sounds like a lot, but if you're like, oh, I have a blog and I've written 15 articles, you're not going to... I don't even think Google would think about using you. You want to write about 60 before you feel, okay, this could be something that could work for me. Now, here's the other thing you're going to want to do, is you're going to want to link blogs to each other. I know that sounds silly, but it's just the way Google loves themselves an opportunity to be able to ping from one thing to another. So as they're crawling something, they see something and they hit that link and then they go to that link and then they go. And that's what creates this kind of site map for yourself, is the fact that everything is linked. In fact, one of the things we didn't talk about in the technical SEO side is to have a site map, which again, if you use Wix, Shopify, WordPress themes, they all will have this site map. You'll be totally fine. But when you link things together, create the spider web effect, it's how Google wants the internet to work. They want us like a family tree that all lands back to Adam. That's essentially what they're trying to want you to do with your website. And so making sure that every page has menus that go to, that someone can go back to home or go back to shop or go back to whatever is important, and that blog posts don't dead end either. That blog posts have call to actions that go to other blog posts and connecting things. So if you're ever having a slow day and you've got 60-something blogs, you can start to go through your blogs and start to hyperlink text back to other blogs, and that will greatly affect your blogs. It will in a positive way. So it's worth the time and energy to do it if you are wanting to get content SEO. Okay, now let's talk about this ranking SEO. So every domain on planet Earth has a rank connected to it, which means it has an authority score. I guess that's the best way to say that, an authority score. So here's the best way to describe this. If my neighbor walks out the street and says, "Hey, Jared, you should try this pizza place," and he looks like, I don't know, some redneck dude who eats at bring back the Crackle Barrel again, eats at the Crackle Barrel, I'm going to be like, dude, I don't really trust your pizza recommendation because you look like you'd be fine at Chuck E. Cheese. You know what I mean? And so, no thanks. But if some billionaire says, "I'm going to take you to the best pizza I've ever had on planet Earth," I'm like, bro, put me in your jet, sit me on your lap, take me. Yeah, I will just, please. So what happened? One doesn't have a authority ranked with me. The other one does. So your website works very similar. Is your website missing teeth and kissing its cousin? Well, most likely it's not going to have the same authority as this other website that's got the swanky shoes on in the private jet. So I'm going to link below a page ranker tool. It's free. You can use it. And what it will do is it'll tell you three things. Number one, it's going to tell you what your domain authority is. It's going to then tell you how many referring domains you have and how many backlinks you have. And those last two are what help your domain authority. Now, keep in mind, you are competing against the world when it comes to domain authority. So your domain authority is going to be very low. So don't expect to get on there and be like, "Oh yeah, it's out of 100. Don't be thinking you're going to be like, "Oh, I'm 98 out of 100. Like, no, Wikipedia's 98 out of 100. You are going to be way down there. And that's fine. That you realistically, it would be very impressive if you weren't way down there. That's fine. But the other two help you kind of get that domain authority up. And there's two things that kind of come from a nice domain authority. One is SEO, organic traffic, increase sales to your website, yada, yada, yada. The other one is it's sort of a leveraging tool. If you go to sell one day, they're going to look at your domain authority and be like, well, how good did you care for this domain? How much does Google like this domain? Because a domain has no value unless it's A, super easy to remember, or B, has authority that's connected to it. So domain authority is great for that. Another thing that it does is that people who are into this SEO world want to connect with domains that have good domain authority. So if your domain authority is a good score and people are like, "Oh wow, that's really great," they're going to link to your website, and so therefore you're just going to get more organic content written about you because of your domain authority. And so you're going to be found on search, blah blah blah. It's all good. Okay, so let's talk about referring domains and backlinks. So backlinks is how many times there is a URL pushing to your site, meaning a different website that doesn't belong to you is pushing to your website. A referring domain is how many, because I guess a good way to look at this is like you could say to your friend, "Hey, can you write a blog article and refer to my website 16 times?" And they could do that, and you would have 16 backlinks to your website because they literally put 16 links to your website. Referring domains would be one in this scenario because they're just one domain that has referred you to another. Both are important though. So having a friend link you 16 times is helpful. So is the domain that's coming over. Those numbers help provide you domain authority. So this is where kind of the content game starts to come out. The more you're pushing out people as well, it helps, but on a much smaller scale. I think a good way to look at it is like when someone refers from their domain to your domain. So for example, they were like, oh, I bought these amazing socks from this person, and they put your website in there. It's like putting a rock on a scale, and oh my gosh, your scale just went up a pound, and that's going to help your domain authority. If you are linking to other people's websites, so let's say you go through and you're like, oh, here's the top 10 best places to get shoes that fit well with my socks, and you put all that, it's like putting peanuts on a scale. So you might need to do a lot of out-pushing links before you reach that 1 pound that you were going to get from one domain bringing over to you. So it is a much better strategy to have domains come to you, but a lot of us can't control that, right? It's not like we have all this access to people writing about us. So something you can do if you're wanting to build this authority is linking your blogs, right? Creating your blogs, and then linking to other websites that have high domain authorities. Another great strategy could be is to find stores that have decent authority, and then saying to them, hey, I'm going to write a blog article about you, or I've posted this. Can you do things back? You want to know a really funny technique? I get emails all the time where people write me and they say, hey, we went through and we found the best Etsy shop podcast possible, and you have won. Congratulations, you're the best Etsy shop podcast on the market, and we've created this badge that you can put on your site. And all we ask is that when you put this badge on your site, you link the badge to our website, and we have a blog article about how you won. You think, really? Why'd they just do this for free? They just gave me this, and wow, thank you, throwing roses on my feet, but you have to see through it. Like, what they're actually doing is they're saying, hey, why don't you put this image on your website that looks great and lets people know you're the best podcast on planet Earth, and then it links back to our site, which means I just gave them a referring domain back to their site. It's a great technique. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this. It's a great technique. I'm not saying you shouldn't use it. It's a great technique. You just have to, you just have to know why they're doing it. And then you go, oh, that makes sense. So going back to this, if you know some, let's say your domain authority is a 12, and see someone else who's like a 15, 16, you can kind of be like, hey, we can scratch each other's back here. We're relatively close to each other. I'm going to put a link to you, you put a link to me, we good with this. And if they're like, yeah, then great, you're off to the races together. Let me say, I know this number off of service businesses because this is a big niche that I'm in. But we try to get 16. We feel like at 16, it allows us to be within the top 3 searches of keywords that we're going for. So when we get on there and we look and we see like, oh, they have 0, we work hard to get 16 referring domains. So if you can land somewhere around that, that's, I think, a good start for what you're doing. Obviously, building that number up the highest you can is the best strategy you can do. Okay, there you guys go. So hopefully this was helpful for you and you were able to kind of get some stuff and check some things off your list and kind of just get an idea of how organic content and SEO could work for you. If you haven't and you're interested in this kind of stuff. So if you get done with this, and this is for a particular person, if you get done with this and you're like, this was helpful, I want more stuff like this. Like, I want to be able to learn more of this stuff. I am doing a group. It's going to be a paid group. So brace yourself, because I'm putting time and energy into this bad boy. But the idea is I want to create a place where we can go and really kind of go deeper than what we can just do here. And so I'm building this. I have a link that you can sign up, and to put your name on the waiting list. But I'm going to send an email out next week and give you the details of it. So when you're signing up, all you're saying is, hey, I'm interested. I want that email to learn about this kind of stuff. You can check this out. And I have a founding fathers rate for it, meaning that if I'm going to let a certain amount of people in, we're going to kind of test it all out, make sure it's all good before it kind of goes to the public. And so if you want to be a founding father of this group, feel filled out that form. Okay, till next week.